In today's session, we are going to see what are the tables that gets populated when we run the store procedure for deliver mailing contacts. So as we know that we run few store procedures to populate the staging tables that are required to view the reports, the deliver insight reports. So today we are going to see only the store procedure, SP populate mailing contact, and how the data flow from different staging tables when you run the SP populate mailing contact store procedure. So I have already run the SP run ID. So SP run ID is the most important store procedure. It will get the delta set of run IDs and it will put that into the UARE runs table. Once you run the SP underscore run ID store procedure, then you can run the SP populate mailing contact store procedure. So the purpose of SP populate mailing contact store procedure is to collect all the contact related data from the UCC underscore tables, which are the deliver system tables, and populate the staging tables which are required for the deliver insight reports. I have already run this store procedure and I will show you in sequence what are the steps that the SP populate mailing context store procedure does. So initially, when you run this store procedure, it obtains a lock from this particular table. So when you see here, UARE mailing batch lock for the batch type EC. When I say EC, it's email contact and isLock is N. So what it does, it is lock column Y and it executes the store procedure or does all the steps. And once the store procedure is completed, it again set this is lock to N and it also updates the end time for this. So as you see, we have start time and end time and it is we can clearly see that this is successfully run because it has set the is lock to N again. So there is one more table which it populates when you run the store procedure, which is called UARE data refresh logs. So we can see UARE data refresh logs. It populates the name of the store procedure which you run, and it also mentions whether it is started or completed. For example, if you see here, the line, we can see email contact delta refresh started, at what time it starts. And again, we can see that email contact delta refresh completed. It means that it has completed. We can see here, then there is one more table which it populates. We can see here is URE process contacts list. When you see this URE process contact list table, you can check that the whatever contacts that needs to be processed for the particular container ID will get populated in the URE process contacts list table. In this table, what it does, it will populate this table and mark the generation flag as Y. And once the contact is processed, it will mark as N. We can see here some of the flags are marked as Y and some of the flags are marked as N. When we say it's marked as N means it has successfully processed this record. After the populating of the URE process contact list table, this store procedure populates URE max environment env container table. So what it does, it's a container ID to the number of envelopes that are associated with that particular container. So for some container IDs, you can see there is one envelope. For some container IDs, you can see there are more than one envelopes that are associated. So uh, it will just store the mapping of envelopes to the container ID relation here. Once this particular table is populated, the next table that it populates is a select is like a URL mailing link contact table. So this is the last table which contains the data. It contains the links associated with a particular mailing that was ran. And once this table is populated successfully, you can see, you can navigate to the deliver reports and you can see that the mailings listing will be available in your deliver reports. And once this URL mailing link contact is populated, the lock is released on this particular table. And also there is a data the records that you can see is updated in this particular record, which says that the email contact has been completed, and it will also shows what is the insert time for this email contacts. So this is how when you run the store procedure, which is SP public mailing contact, it will like how the data will be processed. This shows the diagram in which you can clearly see what are the step, which you can clearly see the stepwise progress of what happens when you run the store procedure. So quickly, what I explain, I will just explain here in this diagram. So it first checks the lock is there or not. If the lock is there, means it is not locked, it is unlocked. Then it captures the lock for the batch type EC. And then once it captures the means, it sets the lock as Y. Then it starts the delta refresh to get the delta set of records. Once it gets the delta set of records, it populates in the URI process contact, which is the most important table, and sets the regeneration flag to Y. Once the data process has been completed, it again sets the regeneration flag to N in the table UARE process contacts table. Once it is done, it updates this URI delta refresh logs and mailing batch logs and the URI learn log table with the latest state of the execution of the store procedure. In case if you find that the lock is not available and it is this lock value is still Y, then it will simply insert one record in the URI delta refresh log table, which says that the email contact delta refresh is already running for a run ID. So you know that, okay, the procedure is already running. That's why the lock cannot be obtained and you cannot proceed further. So if you get this message continuous, just logging to the database and check what are the values that are set in this URI delta refresh log tables. So in the next session, I will be covering SP populate mailing response as well. In the today's session, I have covered SP populate mailing contact. Thank you guys. Thank you friends. Bye.